Hello and welcome to the Evolving Bodies podcast. I'm Julie, and let me ask you this. Have you ever felt stuck in the on again, off again cycle of dieting, obsessing over calories, following strict rules, or labelling food as good or bad? If so, this episode is for you. Today we're talking about mindset shifts for healthy eating, how to move away from the restrictive diet mentality and embrace nourishment as a sustainable and enjoyable approach to health. Because here's the truth, your mindset matters far more than any single diet ever will. I want to share a quick story to kick things off. Many years ago I was a binge eater and I was an on and off again dieter, all in the hope that one day one of these magic diets would work. Starting and stopping, fancy ingredients, hours meal planning to keep me motivated, but failed every time. With each new diet came a new rule to follow, and each time I felt like I was failing. I was having a battle with myself that I didn't even know that I was having. I assumed I was doing all the right things, so why couldn't I just stick to do anything that I was doing? But I finally decided to fuck it all off and figure it out on my own terms. I gradually learnt that food was not the enemy, and ditching the food rules wasn't going to be the end of the world like I imagined it to be. In fact, what did happen was I transformed my relationship with food, with my body, and most importantly, I liked me again. I had more energy, I slept better, I felt better. Many of those negative feelings went away. I enjoyed life again. Instead of being stuck in a cycle of thinking about food, eating food, feeling guilt and shame, and then binge eating again, and then just repeat that cycle again. That's the kind of transformation we all want, isn't it? To be able to just crack on and enjoy life without food being the first, the last thing, and everything in between that we think of about every single day. So let's start with diet culture, because it is literally everywhere. It's the New Year, New You ads, it's the sugar detoxes, it's the influencers pushing meal plans and now weight loss injections that promise you these rapid results. But what diet culture really promotes is restriction, guilt, and this black and white all or nothing thinking. It tells us that food is either good or bad, and if we eat this so-called bad food, then we've somehow failed. And the problem here is this all or nothing mindset and thinking leads to this binge and restrict cycle where you deprive yourself, then you eventually overeat only to feel guilt and probably some shame in there for just a little bit of good measure. And then you just start this diet cycle again. It also creates food obsession. So you might find yourself constantly thinking about what you can or can't eat, making it hard to enjoy life. Like any of us really want to be thinking about food all day long. And psychologically, it absolutely takes a toll, from guilt and frustration to feeling like you lack willpower, impacting your self-esteem and your confidence, leaving you feeling like you're the one that's broken. But here's the kicker. These diets that promise these quick and easy fixes fail in the long run. Research shows that 95% of people who lose weight on a good food, bad food, restrictive diet regains it within 1 to 5 years. That's surprising, but I think any of you who have been to diet clubs will be able to see this for yourself. I mean, just look at how many people are in these diet clubs for years on end without making any sort of like real progress. It's not you. It really is the diet. And why? Because restriction isn't sustainable. And when we inevitably fall off the bandwagon of these strict rules, we blame ourselves instead of questioning those who created it or decided that this was the best way of eating, because they don't know you. Restriction causes you to just want to eat more food. The body is clever. It's not going to let you starve to death. So as soon as it knows there's restriction, it will fight back. So how do we break free? The answer is taking a look at how we view healthy eating. So instead of seeing food as something that we need to control, restrict, or even fear, we can shift towards nourishment or health. So nourishment means fueling your body with care, choosing foods that support your energy and your food and your overall well-being. So I love pizza. Pizza does not love me back. It's not that I can't have it. It's simply my body rejects it. Rejects it kind of being in me. And I don't feel good after I've eaten it. And it's not exactly nourishing when you spend the next day not being able to leave the house because you fear not being near a toilet is just a little bit too risky. That's what pizza does. But on dieting, I would have told myself, but I'm not allowed to have pizza because it's bad for me. But it's not. I don't eat pizza, or I do eat pizza very occasionally. But when I eat it, it makes my body feel physically unwell. So it also means making space for pleasure. So food isn't just about the nutrients that we get from food. It's about our family values. It's about enjoyment and connection and celebration. And yes, it's about our emotions too. So emotional eating isn't a negative thing. It's normal to enjoy all different kinds of food for lots of different reasons. And I do wonder how much of our emotional eating would stop if you just changed your view on what health and healthy eating looked like, instead of having all this guilt and these bad food labels. And most importantly, nourishment is about self-compassion and self-care, not about self-punishment. So here's a simple reframe for you. Instead of thinking, I shouldn't eat this, try asking yourself, do I really want this? Does this sound satisfying to me? This removes the guilt and brings in a more thoughtful choice to what it is that you're eating. Okay, so let me share with you 4 key mindset shifts that can help you build a healthier and more sustainable relationship with food. So old belief number 1, good food versus bad foods. And our new belief, all food fits. When we label food as bad, we give that food power. They become forbidden and definitely more tempting. Don't press that red button. Don't press that red button. I think we've all heard that analogy. I think that's how you say it. When we diffuse this food label and we just say all food fits, it loses its power. So instead of thinking I was bad for eating dessert, reframe it to something similar to I enjoyed this dessert. It's just food. Okay, so old belief number 2. I must calorie count. I must calorie count to be in control. And the new belief, I can learn to listen to my body. So instead of obsessing over numbers and macros and sins and points or whatever diet code they use, practice listening to your body's signals, your hunger, your fullness, your satisfaction, your cravings. And ask yourself, am I hungry or am I just bored? Am I still enjoying this, or am I finishing it out of habit or a learned behaviour? Old belief number 3, I need to be perfect. And new belief, I can be flexible and still achieve my goal. Healthy eating isn't just about being perfect. It isn't about being perfect even. It's about consistency over time. So we're aiming for balance. We're not doing strict rules. So for example, if you overate on one day, instead of punishing yourself by not eating or totally falling off the bandwagon altogether, just simply return your eating habits to normal the next day. We don't have to self-sabotage ourselves because we feel like we have to be perfect. And old belief number 4, I have to have a weight loss goal. This one's really scary, but it's also really common. So our new belief is I am focused on the whole of my health as a goal. So rather than measuring success by the scale, Focus on your energy levels, your mood, maybe even your strength. Ask yourself, how do I feel in my body? Am I sleeping better? Do I have more energy? Are my moods improved? Am I waking up feeling fresh and alert, like I could get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go for a walk if I chose to, rather than dragging ourselves out of bed in the morning? These are what we focus on when we're looking at this whole health goal. Chase this weight loss goal, but if we're chasing it and we're becoming malnourished in between it, then we're probably not going to be having any energy and not sleeping better. So this is where we shift that focus to the health instead of that weight loss. So how do we actually put this into practice? Here, I'm going to give you some practical steps to just get you started and get you started today, because we don't do waiting for Mondays. We just start now. We start today with the next meal that we're going to have. So one, we're going to slow down and we're just going to have a little check-in with our body. So you're going to pause before a meal and you're going to ask, am I hungry? And how hungry am I? This helps you to eat more mindfully. And then you're going to practice stopping when you've had enough. So as you're coming to the end of your meal or halfway through your meal, you're going to ask, am I still hungry? Am I actually satisfied with this meal? Can I leave the rest of this meal? Why do I want to eat the rest of this meal if I know that I'm already satisfied with what I've had? These are the sort of questions that we want to be asking ourselves when we're trying to create this happy relationship with food. Because a lot of the times we just eat purely out of habit, and we do want to look into the reasons why we do that. So we're also going to drop the guilt around fun foods. So maybe perhaps practice allowing yourself to enjoy those treats. I use in my fingers, what are they, inverted brackets? I don't know what they're called. Oh, you know what I mean. Without the self-judgment that comes with it. So what is that one food what is a food that you just don't eat anymore because it's considered bad food, or it's that fun food, that treat food? Try eating it and seeing how you feel. The world's not going to end if you eat that food that you're telling yourself that you're not allowed to have because it's bad food. And then you're going to eat regularly and consistently. The thing we do when we go on diets is we start skipping meals and we start restricting our meals. So you're going to eat on a regular basis and work on creating sort of like a healthy balance of food. And I will link to a workshop that I did recently about how to get healthy without focusing on that weight loss goal. And in there, I touch briefly on creating balanced meals. So it might be worth it's free, just downloading that. I'll post a link in the show notes for you just to see what, because I know that we all know how to eat like healthy meals. I know that we all know how to do that. But sometimes with all of these rules that we have, it's just become slightly skewed somewhat. So that workshop will help you with that. And then we're going to practice self-compassion. So when those diet thoughts creep in, and they will, even after all this time, my brain still goes, oh, you seem to have lost some confidence, Jules. You know why that is? It's because you're fat. Maybe you need to lose weight. So gently redirecting yourself back to your goal and why you are looking to work on your whole health. Okay, so let's move on to some challenges that you might face. So back to that diet mentality. When diet mentality creeps back in, and like I said, it will, recognize that it's just old programming or old shitty thoughts. That's fat. That's why you haven't got any confidence, because you're fat. That's my old shitty thinking coming back in. And then replace this with maybe some curiosity, like questioning, like maybe where it comes from. Is that old thinking? Is that really true for a start? And what do I need right now that's going to help me move forwards, that's going to help me move past this? Sometimes just going for a walk and just clearing your head is a really kind of helpful technique to to just not like bury it, but just to move kind of on from it a little bit. Just sometimes it's boredom, so maybe we just need to go do something different. And another challenge is dealing with the friends and family that make diets the centre of conversation or have unhelpful comments that they like to say. So maybe try saying things like, I'm focusing on nourishing my body in a way that feels good, or whatever, like non-wanky way that you want to say that. It's whenever I write that, it's like very coachy speak, but whenever, I wouldn't say something like that out loud. So whatever your non-wanky way of saying that is, or simply just change the subject. You don't owe anybody an explanation as what you're doing, why you're doing it, how you're doing it. But as women, we do feel obliged to justify our actions. So remember, people comment mostly for two reasons. One is because they've got their own shit that they need to deal with, but they don't want to deal with it, so they're focused on you. Or because of some misguided version of support and care. So change the subject, use your voice to just say, do you know what? I don't want to talk about this. I'm just figuring my shit out. Maybe that's all you need to say. And just walk away from them, because, I know that that's really hard to do. You have to have be a bit tough-skinned, I guess, sometimes. So we also have this fear of gaining weight as well. And it's completely natural to have this fear, but health isn't just about weight. So shift that focus on how you feel. And I feared this too. And you know what happened? The world didn't end. I didn't gain weight. I actually created a relationship with food and with my body and with myself as a person. Like this great relationship with all of those things came because I decided to focus on my health instead of my weight, which ultimately means not necessarily ditch the diets. I ditched the weight loss goal as such. I just focused on what I was doing for my health, and weight loss became a consequence of it rather than the only thing that I was doing. So just as we wrap up, let's have a little recap of the biggest mindset shifts, the old and the new, that we've covered. So letting go of the good and bad food labels. Like as soon as you spot that you're saying, oh no, I can't have this, or I'm so bad because I ate XYZ. Like we want to change that. As soon as we hear it, as soon as we recognize it, start to change it. It's not going to change instantly just because you've said it once to yourself, I'm eating this food because I'm enjoying it, or whatever it is that you've chosen to say to take that pressure away from it being bad food. That's not going to change overnight. You have to keep saying that to yourself until your brain believes it, probably about 90% of the time, but it will always be there. We are going to learn to trust our body's hunger and fullness signals, which takes practice. Again, none of this stuff is overnight stuff. If you truly want to have a great relationship with food, it takes work. There are no quick fixes with this. And I know that that can be really hard to hear sometimes, but there is no quick fix. If you want to be in your 60s and not have to think about what it is that you're eating, then now is the time for you to start working on creating that happy, healthy, great relationship with food. So asking yourself, am I hungry? Have I had enough whenever you're eating? Moving away from that perfectionism and move towards the flexibility part of it. We do not have to do everything by the book every single time. There has to be flexibility in there. Otherwise our day and our life is so focused around trying to be perfect with food all the time that there is no flexibility or spontaneity to go out for a meal somewhere, because we're all panicky because I have to eat this meal today, or I'm not allowed to eat that certain type of meal today, to go to that restaurant to have a date night or whatever. It starts taking over our lives. So we want to have this flexibility and prioritize your overall health and well-being over your weight loss goal. That's not to say that you cannot have that weight loss in there somewhere. Just focus on the health. Take the pressure away from that weight loss and focus on being healthy, because we can all lose weight, but are we going to be healthy when we get there? That's what we ultimately want, is to be healthy at whatever weight that you choose to be. We want to be healthy ultimately. So I encourage you to pick one of these old beliefs and turn them into the new beliefs from today's episode, and put it into practice this week. Maybe it's allowing yourself to enjoy that dessert without feeling guilty, or maybe it's simply checking in with your hunger before meals. Small, consistent shifts or behaviours, or whatever it is that you want to call it, these create your long-term change. This is what matters, making those small steps that you can do over and over again without having to stop, without having to find that motivation to get started again. Pick something small, start there, and let's start creating some change. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I would love to hear your thoughts, share your experiences, or any questions that you have over on social media on Julie Ridley Coaching on Facebook, and leave a comment with this podcast episode would be massively helpful. Please subscribe and leave a review, and I hope this helps more people find the podcast and start their journey towards this food freedom. So thank you so much for listening, and I will see you all, or I speak to you all next week.